I woke up. I woke up in this white, cool, padded room with bright lights peering down at me. I was blinded and I tried to cover my eyes, but I couldn't, so I looked down to see that I was in one of those vests that they put crazy people in. It felt scratchy and uncomfortable. It had straps and buckles to hold me down as if I was dangerous. I didn't know what was going on, and I tried to get up, and it was difficult. I tried pushing them out with all my force, but my arms just rubbed on the rough fabric, and the squishiness of the floor didn't help. Once I'd finally gotten up, after twisting in weird ways, I looked around and saw that there was no exit or opening. I don't remember how I got here. Or my life past my childhood. My brain felt fuzzy and like someone just ripped out chunks, and it gave me a headache. All I remembered was being a kid, and then suddenly I was here. It almost felt like all of me was missing, like there was this puzzle to solve on who I am and where I was. While I was wondering how I got here, I heard a loud, womanly voice that sounded like it was coming from an old radio. But there was no telling where it came from. It just came from everywhere. The voice said, "Item 1. The ceiling started opening in 4 triangles starting from the middle. And an empty spray bottle just dropped from the middle. A blue top, clear bottom, just dropping out from the middle of the opening. It just dropped, and I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't have much time to look at it before the voice came back and spoke again. Would you like to keep this item or discard it? I'll keep it. And the ceiling door closed. Day 2. For the past 24 hours, or I think it's been 24 hours, I've just been assuming that when I wake up from sleeping that it's been a day. All I've done is try to get out of this crazy person jacket and attempt to climb the walls. Both have failed. I still don't know what to do with this empty spray bottle, so I'm just chewing it. I can't hear anything outside these walls. It's so quiet that I can hear my own heart beating. I want to leave. I want to know how I got here, but I still have no memory. The closest memory I have of me is when I was 7, running in a field with a dog. Was it even my dog? How old am I now? I remember it being a sunny day with a nice breeze blowing on my skin as I ran through all the grass and the flowers. And the dog just followed me, beside me. It seemed to be having fun too. Who are my parents? Oh, remember who you are. Item 2. I saw a platter coming down from the ceiling. It was a full course meal with silver spoons and engravings on them and royal blue plates with gold outlining. I tried to reach for the food, but my arms just had me fall forward because of the restraints. It didn't stop me though. I just got back up and I shoved my face in the food. I might not see food again if all they give me are spray bottles. Would you like to keep this item or discard it? Yes! Yes, keep it! Yes! I continued to gorge myself. Day 3. I hate it here. I'm dehydrated, I'm hungry, I'm weak. I tried to get out of the suit so many times, and now it just feels like it's rubbing my skin off and it burns. And the walls are torn from me biting on them, trying to get out, but it seems like there's no ending to these walls. I've been through more layers than I can count. I'm just making a hole. Tried to make climbing holes for my feet so I can climb out through the ceiling, but that didn't work either. I have nothing to grab onto. This is torture. The sound of my heart beating is starting to get in my head, and I'm starting to hear sounds of people screaming in my room, but there's no one here. I think I'm going insane. There's something eerie about this place, like the people who hate me are watching me all the time, wanting me gone. So I voiced the words, "Who are you? What do you want? Leave me! Let me leave!" But the eerie feeling just got stronger. My stomach started to turn out of the pure hatred I felt in this room. But the womanly voice came back. All the eeriness and the hatred went away. A glass of red wine, some stew, a slice of bread on the side. I mean, even in this situation, I still had delicious food, so I wasn't in prison, since they feed prisoners food that looks like barf. The wine quenched my thirst. And the stew did fill my stomach. Day 4. It just goes on.
I remember beating, summer, little me, snow, fall in Florida. I remember COVID, my grandpa, and reading. Elementary, falling, running, fighting. Soccer, driving, skating, and gymnastics. I remember cleaning. I remember getting my hair done. I remember babysitting, getting my phone, sneaking out. My first fight, my first job. I remember school. I remember drawing, coloring, singing and fishing, filming. I remember the time. I remember concerts, laughing, last night's games, hunting, fishing and tubing, sparking my bike, swimming. I remember my skincare routine every day.
It was a crazy day at the Bell Center. Al Jones was playing the first game against the Boston Bruins. He had 3 goals going into the third. But the fans were mad that a walk-on had a hat trick in the first game. Habs suck! Their walk-on is carrying. As long as they make it to the playoffs, fine with me. Habs had a lot of opinions on the walk-on being a star player. Damn, Bruins are down bad right now. Camden was in the stands screaming at Marcus. They start fighting. Marcus got slammed but popped right back up. He sucker punches Camden and the fight was over. You know I would have dropped you. Christ, Camden was mad. But it's all good. The fans didn't faze Al Jones. Al Jones didn't care about a single word they were saying. He scored 2 more goals in the second period. But the fans thought more about the future of the Habs. They stopped bickering and started cheering him on. Let's go Al! Let's see it every game! He ended up carrying them to the playoffs, where Al Jones single-handedly won the Stanley Cup. Montreal Canadiens signed him, and he went on to win 2 more Stanley Cups with them, and was later inducted in the Hall of Fame. The end.
Boston Bruins, Montreal Canadiens. The Bruins are the best team in the NHL, but are having a tough game. Last 5 minutes of the third period, the Bruins score a goal to tie the game up 4-4. But then, suddenly, a fight breaks out, and it turns crazy. But then, for some strange reason, the lights go out. The arena is in complete darkness. However, the darkness does not stop the fights. The players are still going. The lights suddenly turn back on, but a huge number of Bruins and Habs fans rushed onto the ice. The game is stopped, and the referees tried to escort the players into the locker rooms. But then, in the midst of all the commotion, Connor Bedard descends from the ceiling of the Bell Center. The people are stunned, flabbergasted, bewildered even. Connor Bedard raises his hand to speak, and the people listen.
I was sent here to bring peace among the people of Montreal. But as long as the Canadiens continue tanking in my name, I will not come to the city.
The people stormed the GM suite. They warned Kent Hughes himself of the consequences. Kent Hughes promised that the team will play to their full potential and will not lose any more games. Bedard was thrilled and ascended back to the rafters. Before he left, he looked back and made a promise to the people.
I promise I will return to the city of Montreal as long as the Habs no longer lose.
He disappears like a ghost. The clock is reset to 4 minutes. The clock winds down until there are 13 seconds left. Bruins get the puck out of their zone and skate hastily down to the other end. They race past the defenders for a 2-on-0 with 5 seconds left on the clock. Patrice Bergeron passes the elite goal scorer Jake DeBrusk, and the puck goes above the glove of Sam Montembeault and into the back of the net. Connor Bedard quickly returns.
I am disappointed. I had higher expectations of you. But I realize you aren't playing on purpose, but because you just suck. I will be pursuing my career with an elite cup contending team, the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Outraged by this news, they burned down the Bell Center and exiled the players of the team.
Marcus and his budget haircut. There was a guy who had a budget haircut. And his name was Marcus. One day, Marcus walked in the class with a new style. It was horrible. Everyone was like, "Bro, Marcus Braithwaite-Selma, you need a new haircut." Marcus stood by his haircut, and everyone would pick on him. Some people would try and lure Marcus to get a haircut, but it didn't work out. Everyone bothered him for 10 months until they just stopped. I knew no one would just stop, so I wanted to figure out why. I found out that there was a spot everyone would meet up at, and they had a plan for this haircut. They were gonna all trap him and cut his hair in school. When they went in on Monday, Marcus had gone to the bathroom and everyone rushed in after them. After a while, Marcus came out and still had his hair. The kids said he knew some sort of karate and kicked all their butts. Marcus finally grew out his hair, and they all became friends.
I've never been to the Bell Center before, and I don't plan on going. I'm not a big fan of hockey, but I like watching it. My brother plays hockey, and I go watch most of his games. He's all right. Actually, he just told me yesterday that he was chosen to go to the Bell Center to go on the ice with the Canadians and meet some of them. He was excited, even though the Canadians were not one of his favorite teams. Just the opportunity to go and to do that for free is very exciting. My brother is usually negative about things, so it's good he was actually excited to go see the Canadians play because he doesn't support that team. And it's pretty weird that on the day of this assignment, he told me that the universe is so weird and somehow connected. The only time I would go to the Bell Center is if somebody I'm close to is playing and they give me a free seat. I wouldn't pay a lot to watch hockey. The most I would pay is $20, because if that team is going to lose, I'm paying to watch them lose. That would piss me off because I don't even like hockey like that, and I just lost $20. Maybe if it was soccer, I wouldn't be as mad because I'd be happy to go see a pro soccer game, even if the team I'm going to see is losing. My old friend went to go see my fave league team, PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, play soccer in Paris and they lose that game. Pretty sad. If that was me, I'd still be happy to see them play. My dream is to see the PSG team play because all the good players are on that team. Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Hakimi, and all the other players on that team.
I went to a crazy hockey game. It was at the Bell Center in Montreal. To get in, I had to buy tickets. I bought these tickets online from a ticket-selling monopoly. Once I had my tickets, I took the metro to the game. The train was parked in a station for 20 minutes to waste time and extend how long this story is. Once I reached my station, I entered the Bell Center and scanned my ticket. Once the ticket was scanned, the scanning device beeped and flashed green. I was allowed in. I was hungry, so I went to the concession stand and bought a hot dog and soda for $48. This was 50% off. I heard a loud voice come over the loudspeaker. He was getting everyone excited and then proceeded to announce the worst starting lineup I've ever seen in my life. Marcus Foligno, Marcus Johansson, Marcus Peterson, Marcus Kruger, Nikita's 8-7 Carey Price. This is the worst starting lineup ever because they are all named Marcus. They scored no goals and they had to leave the ice in shame. This team will never be good because the owner, Marcus Braithwaite-Selma, does not have the proper funds to run an NHL franchise.
My trip to Mexico was on March 3rd, 2023. We went on 2 beautiful excursions. We went to Zelja on my dad's birthday and had a lot of fun. The other excursion was the Mayan ruins and the Mayan village. When we arrived in the Mayan village, we went swimming in a sacrificial cenote, and in the cenote, I hit my knee multiple times, so it got all bruised up and I was in pain. We got hungry after a while, so we went to eat at an Italian restaurant. It was the best food I had ever had, especially because I hadn't eaten in a while. I had a margarita pizza. It was delicious. I had gelato for dessert, and it was really good. And I have never had gelato, so it was really good. On the last day of my trip, my brother got chased by a Mexican raccoon, or whatever they're called. They're like if a raccoon and a red panda had a kid or something similar. The day we left, it was stressful because we had to rush to get our stuff packed and out of the hotel room and at the lobby for our bus to come get us. We left the hotel, we dropped off at the airport, and we made it through security and all those other things. We got on the plane and waited to take off to go home. Once we got home, my cat was mad at us. Well, besides me, since me and my cat are like besties. She didn't like anyone else but me. I liked everything about my trip. It was very fun and enjoyable.
When I was planted as a sapling by this man in green in an open field with many cows around, many animals were stepping on me, pooping, and just bothering me. Some years there was almost no water. The ground was so dry. Sometimes the opposite of dry. I'd almost be drowning in water. For some of the years of my life as a seed. As a tree, my life revolves around absorbing sunlight and carbon dioxide and converting it into energy and oxygen. I stand rooted, feeling the wind sway my branches and rustle my leaves. Seasons come and go, yet I remain constant in the landscape. Birds build their nests in my canopies. Squirrels scurry up and down my trunk. Insects crawl along my branches. Over time, I have witnessed the growth of other trees around me, and together we are a forest, building a habitat for a wealth of plants and animal life. I continue to stretch toward the sky and spread my branches. I am reminded of the interconnectedness of all living things and the importance of protecting our precious natural world. In my later years, I am getting old. I have survived many forest fires, but none of them came close to killing me. But this man comes with a chainsaw. He looks around for a good tree to cut down, and then he sees me. He starts his chainsaw. He starts to cut me down. 5 minutes. After only 5 minutes, I was a stump. Animals and people may sit on me, or you might chop other pieces of wood on me. But then, one day, a machine will come and turn me into nothing.
April 13, 2023, myself and my grandparents and auntie
Went to the final game of the Montreal Canadiens 2023 season. They were playing the Boston Bruins and had nothing on the line, but it's always fun watching these two teams play because of the rivalry they have against each other. At the game, we had really good seats in a box with all kinds of free foods, ribs, chicken wings, pizza, all kinds of drinks and snacks. The seats were awesome because it was overlooking the entire ice. The game started off really good right from the start, right when the ref dropped that puck. Both teams came out flying and the passing was really good and taking good shots from both teams. But things started to get dirty in the game. Montreal was getting a lot of penalties. But Boston still couldn't score with one man more on the ice. Montreal played a really good game until the disaster arrived, when the crowd went silent and all you could hear was rumbling and cracking and shaking noises coming from the roof of the center. Soon after, the roof started caving in and everyone was running and trying to get out, screaming and crying. That's all you could hear. Ah! Ah! Run! The game was canceled because they couldn't play with a caved-in roof. It was a nightmare for my family. As I said, we were in a box way up at the top of the roof near the ceiling. When we started running and going down the stairs, it was so packed with people, we weren't sure if we were going to get out alive. But everything was okay, and we got out. That was my crazy day at the Bell Center.
There was a hockey game. And the ice just got up and walked out of the arena. Everyone was confused, but then Elsa, you know, from Frozen, she walked through the doors and put ice into the arena. People were still confused, but happy that there was more ice so they could watch the hockey game. The ice then started melting down and flooding the whole arena. See, the drains did not work. There was something in them, that's why the arena started flooding. Everyone started grabbing buckets and scooping the water outside. They did that for a long time, but eventually gave up because it was taking too long. Elsa, you know, from Frozen, came back after all the water evaporated and put more ice in the arena. Finally, the ice did not melt or walk away. After that, everyone went home and talked about how weird that was.
I'm going to a hockey game later. I'm excited because it's Montreal versus Boston. I'm at the game. I don't think there's going to be a game anymore because there's no ice. All the players are here and it looks like they're waiting to get on the ice. There's a lady with white hair. Maybe she's going to sing the national anthem. I can't believe my eyes. She's making ice out of thin air. Everyone is in shock, even the players. They're going on the ice now. I guess the game is going to go on like normal. This has been a pretty great game so far, but I keep wondering how the lady with the white hair made the ice. I think everyone here has been wondering how it happened. Looks like Montreal's gonna win. This has been such a weird night.
I see Mr. Blank and say hi as I take a seat on top of a desk. He repeats what I said. Then he asks me,
Why do you want to stay after class, Beaver?
I look down at the floor. I don't want to tell him or anyone for as long as I'm alive, but it's eaten me up inside, so I do it anyways. I try to gulp down the lump that's been hanging around inside my throat, but it don't really work. I look back up and stare at Mr. Blank with a noticeable shake in my voice. I tell him, I've been getting these thoughts. He responds with a simple,
Elaborate?
so I do. I don't know, they're not nice. And whenever I catch myself thinking that kind of stuff, I feel like I want to rip my brain out of my head and never think again. Mr. Blank looks at me as if he's confused or something. I feel like just saying what I've already said has made me feel like hopping in a hole and burying myself. But Mr. Blank just has to ask more questions. Now he goes on and says,
Can you be more specific with those thoughts? What does not nice mean?
I don't know if I can be more specific. He'll call the PKs on me and lock me up forever, and I'll never see my dog or my grandpa again. But even though I'm thinking and worrying about all that, I still end up telling him. I look down and choke out. These things, well, I think about. I pause. My heart's beating fast as a bullet train, but I continue. Hurting people and hurting myself. And these naughty things I don't want to say, but I hate them. And when I start, they won't leave my mind, and I don't know why I'm thinking about all this. And I know it's bad, and I'm sorry, and I'm cut off by Mr. Blank. He stands up straight and keeps his eye contact with me while he tells me.
Beaver, it's okay. Can I come sit next to you?
I'm real nervous now. I bet he's going to tell me how many years I'll be locked up for. But I nod my head yes anyways. Mr. Blank walks up to me and pulls out a chair. He tells me with a softened voice.
I'm trusting you when you say you don't like those thoughts, Beaver. Everyone gets those thoughts that they don't like, and we just learn to ignore them. I know they're bad, and I know it's hurting you, and you have every right to feel upset by them. I'm so proud that you decided to tell me that, Beaver.
Mr. Blank squeezed my shoulder in a way that made me think he was trying to tell me that he was here for me. If I were me from 5 minutes ago, I probably would have looked away. Now, I just stared at Mr. Blank with my dumb big eyes and cried. I cried and I cried and cried, and he just sat there watching me. Not in a mean way, though. Just having his presence made me feel better.
I'm riding in my dad's 20-year-old ATV up a mountain called the Fire Trail with my 10-year-old brother and my dad, who finally convinces me to go up the trail with them. As we're riding up the mountain, it starts to rain a bit, and we all agree to keep going. And after 5 minutes, the rain starts to clear up. While we ride up the mountain, I hear a noise coming from the trees surrounding us. But after that one noise, all I can hear is the sound of my engine running. The woods go silent, and my dog just looks around, silent. We continue up the mountain. We get to the second last hill, and my bike in the middle of the hill just stops moving. Panic. That's all I can feel as I jump off my bike and try to push it to get it unstuck, only to realize it's seized. I asked Dad to help me turn the bike around. 1, 2, 3, push! My dog starts barking. 1, 2, 3, push! And finally, it's turned around. Now it's time for the winch. Hooking up the winch is annoying. It's so old, I think it'll snap. There. The winch is hooked up. Time to pull it down the hill. Hey, Ruggany, I'll steer it while you pull it. Riding this bike down the mountain is fun, but I hope the wheels don't break off before I get down. Now, I'm bouncing all over the bike, almost falling off my bike when I hit a big rock. But the good news is the wheels, they start to spin a little. I'm finally at the bottom, and the bike's wheels are spinning. Actually, the bike is running fine. I wonder why it's working again. Huh. Oh well, it was exhausting, so I guess it's time to go back to the cabin and sleep.
I remember summer 2020 and how much I miss it. Swimming out with friends, hanging out with my friends. I remember my dog getting hit by a car. And the day I got my new dog. My nieces and nephews getting named at Ganozasne, all 8 of them being born. Going to Hawaii. How Hawaii burned me and made my scalp peel for weeks. I couldn't get the sand out of my hair for weeks. I remember scraping my knee at my mama's. The first time I got chased by the cops. When I made my dad quit smoking for me. When I scored my first soccer goal at my first ever game. And my dad gave me $20 for it. I remember when I first learned how to whistle, to snap my fingers. The first day going back to school without masks. Going to the first powwow back in town after 3 years. Sleepovers with my friends in October. Sweater weather. I remember when I finally got to meet my nephew after 3 years. I remember going to Florida with my family, finding out my Bubba got cancer, finding out my Bubba beat cancer, how much I hate math class and French. And the first time I tried Chick-fil-A. Watching my nieces and nephews grow up while being so young, when my friend's dog chewed up like 3 of my stuffed animals. My childhood stuffed animal named Monkey Love. When one of my dogs chewed him up. I remember getting closer with friends this year. Meeting someone this year who changed me for the better. Being happier and realizing everything turns out all right. It was a bright summer day, and my family and I were enjoying the warm weather at the beach.
It was a beautiful summer day, and my family and I were at the beach.
It was supposed to be a fun day at the beach. My family and I had been planning this trip for weeks, and my little sister Lily was beyond excited.
I loved playing in the water and feeling the waves crash against my body. My brother was a stronger swimmer than me, but I didn't mind. I just enjoyed being in the water and having fun with my family.
She'd been talking about building sand castles and swimming in the ocean for days.
My daughter, Lily, and son, Jack, were playing in the water while I relaxed on the shore.
As we arrived at the beach, Lily immediately ran toward the water, eager to dive in. I followed her with a watchful eye, knowing the ocean could, at times, be dangerous. But I watched her play in the waves, and I felt a sense of calm. She was having so much fun, and it was a joy to see her so carefree.
As the day went on, I started to tire out. The waves were getting bigger, and I was struggling to keep up. I remember feeling scared, but I didn't want to ruin the fun for everyone, so I just kept trying to swim and stay afloat.
But then,
Suddenly,
everything changed. She had disappeared.
I heard Lily's screams and looked up.
I looked around frantically, trying to spot her in the vast expanse of the ocean.
I see her struggling in the water.
And then I saw her struggling to keep her head above water.
My heart sank as I watched the waves pull her under. I knew that she was in trouble.
I felt myself being pulled under. I tried to swim back up to the surface, but I couldn't. The waves were too strong. I remember feeling like I was running out of air and that I was going to die.
I watched in awe.
Without hesitation, I ran toward her, diving into the water and swimming as fast as I could.
I don't remember much after that.
I watched in awe as my son Jack, who had been playing nearby, immediately sprang into action.
I could see the panic in her eyes as I reached her, and I knew I had to act fast.
Jack swam towards Lily, his strong strokes propelling him through the waves. He reached her quickly and wrapped his arms around her, supporting her as she gasped for breath.
I grabbed her by the arm, pulling her towards me and wrapping my other arm around her waist. As we struggled to stay afloat, I could feel the weight of Lily's body pulling me down, but I refused to let go. I kicked my legs as hard as I could, fighting against the current and trying so hard to make my way back to shore.
I could see the determination on Jack's face as he struggled to keep them both above water. Jack stayed close by her side, pulling her through the waves and making sure she didn't lose her footing.
It felt like an eternity before we finally reached the safety of the beach. I collapsed onto the sand, gasping for air as Lily laid beside me unconscious. I checked her breathing. It was faint, but it was good.
Finally, they reached the shore, and I ran over to them, tears streaming down my face. Lily was unconscious. I started to perform CPR on her while telling Jack to call the ambulance.
I must have passed out because the next thing I knew, I was laying on the beach and my mom was doing CPR on me. I felt so cold and weak. I couldn't breathe and I couldn't move. I was rushed to the hospital and I spent several days there recovering. I was lucky to be alive, but I was also traumatized by the experience.
It was a close call, and I knew that if I hadn't been there to save her, things would have ended up very differently.
I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened and how close I'd come to dying.
Thanks to Jack's quick thinking and bravery, Lily was saved that day as we left the beach that day in an ambulance.
As Lily recovered in the hospital, I sat by her side, watching her with a newfound sense of appreciation.
I hugged my children tightly, grateful that we had each other.
She had almost drowned, but I was there to save her, and in that moment I just realized how much I loved my little sister. Because to me, there was nothing more important than the safety and well-being of my family.
After that day, I was scared to go back in the water. I didn't want to risk drowning again. It took me a long time to overcome that fear, but eventually I did.
I vow to always be there for her, to protect her and keep her safe, no matter what the cost.
Now I always make sure to stay close to my family when we're at the beach. And I never go in the water alone.
It was a reminder of the deep bond between siblings and the incredible strength of a family in times of crisis. I'm grateful and proud for my son and have a renewed sense of love for my whole family.